Well, today should be pretty quick. We're going to take the air tank for the suspension. We're going to go ahead and get it mounted up here in the spare tire well and keep moving forward. All right, well, here's what we got. So this is the air tank that's going to be used to fill the airbags for this air ride suspension. And we're going to go ahead and get this mounted right up front here, down in the spare tire well. After talking to Kurt, he's never had a spare tire. He doesn't want to run a spare tire, so we've got this open space here. When you buy these kits, air-cooled suggests you put it underneath the back seat. I thought about doing that, but I'm still going to be running heat in this car, and I just didn't want to worry about trying to fit everything in. And I've got this open space here, so I figured, why not throw it up front? It'll be a short run from the tank to the compressor, and then from the compressor up to the valves. So we're going to go for it. So really, our goal here is just to make up a set of brackets to attach to the bottom of the apron here, and then figure out a way of bolting it in there. So I'm gonna do some looking and some figuring here, and then well, once I get some stuff made up, I'll show you what I got. Well, here's what I came up with. I did spend a little bit of time here kind of figuring things out, and went through a bunch of different, well, let's say ideas, until I kind of settled on what we've got here. So for starters, what I've done here with the tank is I went ahead and inserted some riv nuts or rivet nuts, so I can just run bolts directly into this. You know, I just used 8mm riv nuts, so I can bolt in just like that. And then for actually attaching it here, I just made up a couple of simple braces. And then what we're going to do is we're actually going to take these, and you'll notice if I hold them like so, they've got the bit of an angle here at the front. And that is to fit the bottom of the apron, just the way that is shaped. But basically what we're going to do here is these will just weld into the chassis like so. And then you'll notice I put a couple of big holes in the bottom of the apron. And that is to actually have access to the bottom of the bracket, because once the tank is in place, you can't get to the underside. And then I'll run a couple bolts up through there. Once it's tight, it's all set to go. Now the big holes in the bottom of the apron, that's what really had me kind of tripped up for a while. I had a bunch of really overly complex ideas, and frankly what I settled on is I'm just going to take some of these body plugs here. I've got a whole bunch of these for some other areas. And the holes I drilled are 1 inch. These are just 1-inch plugs. And then what we'll do is once the thing's bolted up, I'm going to put a little bit of sealer on here, probably like some butyl rubber, and then just pop that up into place. It's going to be sealed from any kind of moisture intrusion. All in all, I think it's going to be a pretty decent solution here. Once I get everything welded in, we're going to find out if these brackets are actually going to be strong enough. I just used some sheet metal here. But once it's bolted in tight to the tank, there's really not much in the way of flex here. If after the fact I find that I'm not happy with how stiff everything is going to be, I may come in and weld some additional bracing in here, but we'll just wait on that until we're done. Really, at this stage, I am ready to go ahead and get this welded in. Now, what I've done in preparation, because I won't be able to get to the bottom side of the bracket once it's installed, I went ahead and painted this black just to seal it up, just to prevent any rust. The area where it's going to be plug welded, I went ahead and removed the black paint, shot on some weld-through primer, as well as down inside the apron. I went ahead and cleaned that up and shot on some weld-through primer. So once this is all welded in, we know this is going to be as sealed up as it can be. And then once we get to actually painting inside the trunk, we'll just make sure to kind of force them up underneath this bracket to fill in any voids there might be and make sure everything's sealed up. But that's for down the road. For now, we just need to get this thing installed. So I'm going to go ahead and get everything aligned up here. And what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to install the brackets on the tank. We'll drop it in place. I got a couple of sheet metal screws that are going to hold everything in place and line it up. And once everything's set, we'll get it all plug welded in. And there it is, all finished up. And I'll tell you what, it's pretty darn solid. You know, with everything welded in place now, I'm real happy with how this turned out. We've got clearance around the front, we've got clearance around the back, and more importantly, I've got clearance in the bottom because there is a drain hole in the bottom of this tank. I wanted to have access to that so we're able to drain out any water that's going to, you know, condense inside this as it's being used. What we'll end up doing is I'll just run a pipe out the side, put a ball valve on there, and then just run that to the outside of the vehicle. So periodically we're able to drain the water. But all in all, I'm pretty satisfied with how this turned out. You know, we've got these 4 holes in the bottom. Again, I'll just plug those with these body plugs. A little bit of sealer should be right as rain. So that's it. That's all I got for today. You know, thanks for watching and hanging out. And really, until the next one, I'll see you around.